From the O'Connell Center on the campus of the University of Florida in Gainesville, it's Florida Gator Gymnastics. Tonight, the Gators play host to the Gym Dogs of the University of Georgia. And a very pleasant good evening to you. I'm Larry Vitale, and welcome to what we promise will be some exciting gymnastics action between the Florida Gators and the Georgia Gym Dogs. The Gators, a perennial national and SEC contender, Florida ranked number 5 in the nation, but they are facing the number 1 ranked team in the USA. The Georgia Gym Dogs are also the defending national champion. Earlier, we talked with the two coaches about tonight's matchup.
Probably the same thing it means to the football world, you know. We want to win, and I know Florida wants to win. It's going to be a great competition, and as I said, both teams have great athletes. It'll be great gymnastics tonight.
Well, more importantly than the rivalry itself, it's two phenomenally talented teams, and Georgia is the defending national champion. So it says a lot for us to come out and to compete aggressively and to want to win, and that shows exactly where we stand at this point in the season.
And it's a pleasure to welcome in former Gator All-American gymnast Melissa Miller-Schubeck. And Melissa, you've competed in Florida-Georgia meets. What's it like?
It's a huge rivalry, and today is no different. Georgia is the number 1 ranked team and undefeated this season, but Florida only has 1 loss to number 3 ranked Alabama, and they had to count 2 falls in that loss because of their added difficulty this year.
Well, the Georgia Bulldogs dominated the Gators for about a decade and a half, but of late, Florida's shown signs that maybe the Gators are closing the gap.
Last year, Florida beat Georgia in Athens in a dual meet, the first time since 1983. They also won the regional championship, almost ruining Georgia's chance of going to the national championship.
Well, it's going to be something very special. 2 of the top 5 teams in the nation head-to-head here in Gainesville. The Florida Gators and the Georgia Bulldogs. We'll take a break. We'll come back with the first rotation here on Sun Sports. And the Gators hoping to chomp the Gym Dogs here at the O'Connell Center. A big crowd continuing to file in, and perhaps some Gator gymnasts of the future looking for that perfect 10. Our first rotation will have the Florida Gators on vault, Georgia on the uneven bars. And for Florida, first up will be Brianne King.
And you're noticing this year that Florida has added extra difficulty into every event. All gymnasts competing at 10-0 vault this year. You see your Chinko with a full twist.
For Brianne King, just her second vault of the season.
And she's known as Miss Consistency. Very dependable. You see the round-off entry. Nice straight body full twist and a great landing.
So Brianne King with a 9.825, a good start for the Gators on the vault. And the second Gator vaulter will be Savannah Evans, and she has had a 10 in the vault in her outstanding career, still just a junior.
You'll see that same round-off entry, half twist, front layout, landed a little bit short on that. That's a 5/10 deduction.
And 5/10 is huge in gymnastics, and that'll put a lot of pressure on the other Gator vaulters to follow to make sure they hit their routine.
And you see it almost gained her a little bit, didn't quite get the distance from the horse, so she didn't rotate like she needed to.
Seemed like she went more to the right than she did extending away from the horse, and a 9.275 for Savannah. Now here's Abby Stack for Georgia.
On the bars, you'll see a lot of variety and different skills that they're using. There's a release move, which is required. Giant, then you see some eagle grip giants. Moving down to the low bar, which is one of the requirements. Cast handstand. Getting ready for a dismount. Full twisting double back in one hop at the end.
Just a bit of a step there at the end for the Georgia freshman from North Carolina, part of a very strong Georgia freshman class.
You see that nice full twisting double back and just a little trouble on the landing.
9.825 for Abby Stack of Georgia. Now over to Florida on the vault as the Gators now have to nail them all. Here's sophomore Ashley Reed.
So round off, handspring with a full twist. Just a slight hop at the end.
Ashley Reed did not compete in the vault in the meet at Alabama last week, but back in the lineup tonight.
She's She's also been strong winning this event against Oregon State. Nice distance from the horse. Just a real slight hop there, maybe a 10th deduction on that.
And a 9.825 for Ashley Reed. Next up for Georgia on the bars, this is Ashley Kupets.
She's only been competing 2 events due to her sore back, mainly vault and bars. See Giant with a full pirouette. Nice release move. Moving down to the low bar, bell to handstand. I think she's been a little under the weather tonight as well. Nice tuck double back, 1 hop at the end.
Well, we should all be that much under the weather. Fine performance from Ashley Kupets, an All-American in this event last year.
Nice tuck double back. Only a C dismount, though. I'm sure she'll be hoping to increase that as the year goes on.
Well, you're a tough grader. Gave her a C, huh? 9.825. That seems to be the score of the night, at least in the early going. Now Florida's Katie Root.
She's trained all summer for a new vault. A couple steps at the end. Generally, 1 step will be 1 tick deduction, and the 2 is 2. Sometimes you don't always see that in the scoring. Yuchenko half with a front tuck off with a half twist.
And Katie Root just behind her 9.85 of last week's Alabama meet with another 9.825. And now Georgia All-American Kelsey Erickson. She is an outstanding competitor, a junior out of Cincinnati.
And she's only competed 1 competition so far this year. You see most of the girls coming onto the bars with a fairly simple mount. Nice reverse heck. She's also doing another release move, a pike Jaeger.
You see the associate head coach, Jay Clark, there for safety purposes.
And they're not allowed to actually touch the gymnast. They can be there for safety precautions if they miss on their releases. And her dismount, Arabian double front, fantastic difficulty.
And that'll put an end to the run of 9.825s, that's for sure.
Watching this again, great lift. She does an Arabian and then a double front, a blind landing, very difficult to stick. But she did a great job.
And a 9.925 for Erickson, the best score we have seen in this first rotation. And now for Florida, it's Nicola Willis in her second year, competed only in an exhibition last year, then was injured.
See that Yuchenko with a full twist. Great distance and great height. Again, have 1 hop at the end there. The Florida gymnasts are just going to have to work on taking off that 1 tick deduction on all of their landings. She's also a 2004 Great Britain Olympian. Nice body position. Great dismount.
And the Gators' best score so far, a 9.850. So Florida continuing to get good vaults after the 1 fall earlier. And now another Georgia All-American, Katie Heenan.
She's a first-team All-American. Very consistent, very solid. There's her release move. Bell to handstand. You see him preparing for the dismount. There's that double front. Great landing.
The second Georgia gymnast in a row to stick the landing for the Gym Dogs.
She has a nice clean first flip, and then the second one she's cowboying a little bit just to get that rotation.
And a 9.9 for Katie Heenan. Not quite to catch Erickson. And you hear Coach Suzanne Yoculin say, gorgeous. Tiffany Murray now for Florida.
This is her favorite event, and she's already won 2 vault titles this year. Yuchenko with a full twist and a great landing. She is so powerful on this event. I think the crowd really gets into her on the vault.
And that's the best landing Florida's had on the vault in this first rotation.
And of course, Florida's putting in a lot of difficulty early in the season, so putting some things out there that are difficult for the kids, they're just going to have to work towards the end on getting those landings.
Well, there was some chanting in the stands for 10, 10, 10, but they'll have to settle for a 9.9 for Tiffany Murray. And now for Georgia, the freshman U.S. Olympian Courtney Kupets.
She actually won an Olympic bronze medal on the uneven bars. Excellent bar worker. Starting off with a release move. They have to make some transitions from the low bar to the high bar. The Giant with a full pirouette with a release right into her reverse hecht. You can see that Olympic caliber routine. It's just a little bit different than everyone else's. Nice double layout and a great landing.
Wow. You don't often see U.S. Olympians compete collegiately, and Courtney Kupets is going to be a huge advantage and addition for Georgia.
Nice tight body. She just has great form. Just looks wonderful on this event.
Kupets with a 9.95, a great routine for Kupets. And the Gym Dogs and Gators have gotten through one rotation. They will switch, and we come back here on Sun Sports. Our second rotation here at the O'Connell Center in Gainesville. Beat Georgia shirts for all the fans in the O-Dome. And Coach Rhonda Fain and Randy Lane, her assistant, talked with Ashley Reed, who's been taken out of the bars lineup.
They had changed her routine earlier this week, and she's having trouble with her mountain warm-up, so they're going to put someone else in her place.
Kelsey Erickson off a great bars routine to vault for Georgia.
Your Chinko layout, full twist, slight hop at the end. Georgia is ranked #1 nationally on the vault at this point in the season. Very strong event for Georgia.
They're going to be #1 on the bars before much longer with the routines they showed us today.
Great height, nice tight body.
And Erickson with a 9.825. So Kelsey Erickson with two good performances to start out. And now the Gators on the bars with Tiffany Murray.
See a nice Shaposhnikova, one of her release moves, moving to the high bar. Cast handstand. Giant with a full pirouette. One of the requirements is to turn longitudinally and also a double front dismount. She's gained a lot of consistency on that over the summer and needs to just work a little on the landing.
So Tiffany Murray for the Florida Gators, a sophomore out of Orlando.
Taking another look. It's a blind landing, very difficult, an E-level dismount.
That blind landing similar to what we saw from Erickson, right?
Exactly.
And now Megan Doolin will vault for Georgia.
Chinko layout with full twist. One step at the end, that'll be a 10th deduction.
Now, is a big step like that considered worse or better than a little hop with both feet? Or?
The size of the step really doesn't matter. Although, as we said earlier, if you take one step, you're only going to lose that 1/10. But even though sometimes the girls are hopping, they're only taking 1/10 deduction when actually they're supposed to take 2.
9.85, high score with that step for Doolin. And now Florida's Brianne King. Sometimes we see the gymnasts put their feet on the low bar to go back up high. Sometimes release moves. Is releasing up high worth more points? Or?
Well, it's just a requirement. It doesn't really have to have the difficulty necessarily. But there's a Healy right into her release move, a Jaeger. There's certain requirements that they have to do. And, of course, the kids can then choose which skills that they do. Bell to a handstand. They want to try to keep the routine flowing as much as possible. Brianne having a little trouble on her form, on her pointing her toes on some of her skills. Nice high full twisting double back, just a slight step at the end.
How much tougher the bars routine for a gymnast as tall as Brianne, who's 5'8"?
Well, that's a great point to make because it is a lot harder to swing being taller, and they have to work a little bit harder.
That's why I had to cut my career short. 9.7 for Brianne King. That's like 53rd on the list, but it was on the list. Here's Tiffany Tolnay for Georgia.
Chinko, 1.5 twist and a great landing. She's tied for 4th nationally on this event, and you can see why. Nice lift, 1.5 twist, a little bit harder than what we've seen already.
9.9 for Tolnay, a freshman from Grapevine, Texas. And now our first look at a sensational Florida freshman, Corey Hartung.
She has some interesting combination work in this routine. And you'll see she uses her great flexibility on every event that she performs on. Delta handstand. There's a Corkina, a different release move than we've seen. Just the power into that dismount, full twisting double back, and a great landing.
And the crowd loves it at the O'Connell Center as Courtney Hartung.
Her lines are so beautiful when she's doing her giants and just extremely confident, even as a freshman.
And a 9.9, the highest for any Gator on the bars this season. Now back to the vault and Ashley Kupets.
Last year, Georgia had to compete some competitions with only 5 performers. You compete with 6, they take the top 5 scores. They just didn't have the depth last year, but they definitely have it this year. You see your Chinko half to a front pike. They're being evaluated on their entry onto the vault, which was very well, and coming off nice and high in distance from the horse.
And still we're seeing a step or a hop from just about everyone. This is relatively early in the season with the difficult vaults these women are doing. Florida sophomore Nicola Willis, who replaced Reed in the lineup. She was originally not going to be an all-arounder, but she is going all around tonight.
And the great thing about putting someone like this in, she has such experience internationally that this is no pressure for her to come in and perform this routine. Giant full, right into a Ginger. Bell to a handstand on the low bar. See the nice strong power to a double layout. Little hop at the end there. Looks like she might have released a little bit early. If she'll just ride that a little bit longer, that'll help her on her landing.
And Nicola Willis with a 9.825. We saw Randy Lane, the Gator assistant coach, in there just as we saw Jay Clark for Georgia for safety reasons. Not needed. And Katie Heenan next up for Georgia on the vault.
Chinko with a full twist. And one big hop at the end. She's the first team All-American. Scored a high before of a 9.975, so very capable of getting close towards that 10-0 mark.
She had a 9.95 in the Super 6, the NCAA finals last year, and a 9.875 today for Georgia. And now Samantha Lutz, Gator junior out of Ohio. Samantha, an outstanding bars worker.
And she's doing a new routine with some added difficulty this year as well. Upright handstand, half pirouette. See a Ginger. She also tied with teammate Ashley Reed in regionals last year on this event. She's the regional bar champion. And now look at this dismount. Straight body, full twist and double back. The hardest dismount in collegiate gymnastics, and she nailed it.
A terrific routine, and the crowd again says they want a 10.
They've worked so hard to up their difficulty, and then just to be rewarded with such a great landing.
Well, they don't get the 10, but a 9.9 for Samantha Lutz, matching the best for a Gator this year.
So Yurchenko half, front pike. One big hop at the end. These kids have so much power, none of them seem to be able to control it. Half twist on, nice lift, great height, and maybe just held that pike a little too long.
And Courtney Kupets gets a 9.9 despite the hop. So Kupets again challenging for an individual title, and our Florida final bars worker will be Cherie Owens. And she has anchored Florida's bars lineup in each meet so far this season.
She's also been working to add another release move that she may put in later on in the season. So you're working up to the high bar. Toe on, toe off. Giant full. Look at that high release move, reverse heck. Strata back to handstand, and she was actually not supposed to do the half turn out. She's trying to cover up a mistake there. Nice giants. Into a full twisting double back. A little bit low on the landing and one big step. That's really going to hurt her score. Nice lift, just didn't hold that tuck tight enough.
And Cherie Owens settles for a 9.65 for Florida. So we're midway through the meet. We head on over for the Gators on the beam and Georgia on the floor when we return after this short timeout on Sun Sports. Well, you see those guys at football games, but not often at a gymnastics meet, but a loud, enthusiastic crowd here at the O'Connell Center for the #1 Georgia Gym Dogs and the 5th-ranked Florida Gators. Georgia leading by .425 after the first 2 rotations, and now we go to Georgia on floor exercise. The Gators on beam, .425, a lot to make up, but it can be done, and Ashley Reed will lead off on the balance beam for Florida.
She's very dependable, so they usually like to start the beam lineup with someone that can hit. Switch leap to a gainer layout, step out. At Alabama, Florida had to count falls on the bars and the beam, and they also had a fall on the beam starting off the lineup in the Oregon State competition. So they've had a little bit of difficulty this year trying to figure out who can go where in the lineup. Back handspring layout, step out.
And remember, counting a fall means 2 people fell.
Exactly.
Because you get to drop your low score.
See a beat jump to her jump combination. Girls are required to do a leap or a jump with a 180-degree split in their routine, which she just fulfilled. Straddle jump, straddle jump. All she has left now is her dismount. Round off, double twist, little hop at the end.
Ashley Reed, who had a 9.825 on the vault, gives Florida a very solid lead off on the balance beam.
Taking another look at that dismount. A double twist, just one tiny hop. A solid routine for Florida.
And a solid score, 9.85. Rhonda Fain to take a half dozen of those and move on to floor exercise, I'm sure. Now Kelsey Erickson, who has been impressive so far with a 9.925 and a 9.825.
This is Georgia's other great event. They're also ranked #1 in the nation on the floor exercise. She's a first-team All-American on this event. A nice high pike double back. The great thing about this Gator audience is they appreciate great gymnastics, so you'll hear them clapping and yelling for the Georgia gymnast as well.
Just not nearly as loud.
Not as loud. She is ranked #1 in the country on this event right now. Front full, front full. Doesn't look as difficult to the average viewer, but it's very difficult to put 2 front fulls together like that. But again, you're seeing a lot of variety in skills, a lot of different skills than we've seen in the past, trying to fulfill their requirements in the routine.
One of the main things to watch is make sure you stay inside that white border. Any touch in the white border area is a 10th deduction.
Her final ending, high tuck double back. A great finish for Kelsey Erickson.
Kelsey Erickson for Georgia.
Taking another look at her ending. She stretched into it, then pulled a tuck double back. She probably will want to increase her difficulty as the season goes along.
And a 9.875 for Erickson, who has had a very solid evening already. Now for the Gators, Katie Rue, and Florida has had a gymnast fall on the beam, so the pressure's on Rue and the remaining Gators on beam to stay up.
It is so hard to follow a fall because you know that your score has to count at this point. She does a great back handspring layout with her feet together. Layout, step out. They're required to do an acro series, a dance series, a leaper jump with a 180-degree split, and a full turn, and at least a C dismount. There's a side summy. Nice quarter twist Shushanova. They're also expected to work down onto the beam at some point in their routine. A full turn, which is required. She's a 2004 All-American second team on the balance beam. There's her dismount, a gainer with a full twist.
Very nice job by Katie Rue.
There's that handspring 2-foot landing, very difficult. And her dismount off the side, a gainer with a full twist. She's the 1999 national beam champion as well. Taking off of 1 foot on that dismount.
And a season high 9.825 for Katie Rue of the Florida Gators. And we'll stay with Florida on the beam. And here's Corey Hartung. We saw her on the bars. Corey, the first freshman to win all around in her debut meet since a girl named Melissa Miller. Do you know her, Mrs. Schubeck?
I think I do.
Melissa made me promise not to say how many years ago it was, but it was in 1986.
This is one of her best events along with the floor X. There's back handspring, layout, step out, slight bobble. That'll be about a 10th deduction. Showing that nice flexibility, a front aerial. Nice needle scale.
You don't see that very often.
Of course, that's her strength, so as we said earlier, we'll see it in almost every event that she does. Her jump requirement, she did a sheep jump, which she actually looks backward, making it very difficult. Doesn't look that difficult, but is. Switch leap to a one-arm back handspring.
And the judges notice and appreciate those things?
Exactly. There's her full turn requirement. There's a 2.5 twist dismount. Great landing.
Corey Hartung.
There's that back handspring layout, step out. She was off to the side a little, but she saved it. In this dismount, you see a little bit on that blind landing, but nails that dismount. Great job.
And a 9.90 for Hartung. So a couple of fine performances by the Gator freshman. Now we go back to floor exercise and Georgia All-American Katie Heenan.
She's ranked 3rd nationally on the floor exercise, 1st in the SEC on this event. See a double twisting front. Now they are allowed to have that mat. It's like a sting mat on the floor. There is no deduction for that. I would find it to be kind of hard to use that, but it helps on their ankles and their knees for the landings. So you're playing up to that Florida crowd.
A little jazzy, kind of a jazzy big band kind of sound to the music.
You'll see a lot of different themes in the music as we watch this competition. Round up a handspring, nice high pike double back. Now Georgia's got a tough road ahead. They not only have Florida, but they have Alabama and LSU at home.
Well, the SEC with 3 of the top 5 teams in the nation and 6 in the top 20. So just about every SEC dual meet's going to be a tough one.
Well, as far as the toughest schedules in the country, Georgia has the 2nd toughest schedule. Florida has the 3rd. There's a front full. Branny, step out.
Katie Heenan for Georgia.
Taking another look at that double twisting front. Nice high pike double back. Very solid routine.
And the judges like it, a 9.875 for Heenan. Now we go over to the beam again for Florida, Samantha Lutz, and talk about someone you can rely on. Samantha has hit 15 consecutive beam routines for the Gators.
Well, she won the beam against Alabama after watching those 2 falls in front of her, so you know that she's tough. She competes with a lot of confidence on this event. Nice punch front. She's a 2004 All-American first team on the balance beam, placing 11th at Nationals. Switch leap. There's her straddle jump. In 2004, she won the UF Georgia All-Around with the highest total ever at Florida, a 39.45. Jump sequence. You hear some music in the background at these dual competitions or these smaller competitions throughout the year. They can have some music in the background so it's not so quiet for the gymnast. Watch this dismount handspring, layout, step out right into a full twist.
And a beautiful landing from Samantha Lutz.
This is her acro series, handspring, right on.
And Lutz, who had a 9.90 on the bars earlier, gets a 9.875 for the Gators, and the final Gator on beam is Brianne King.
She was so consistent last year. She hit 53 of 54 routines. She's also opened this season with a win on the balance beam.
Florida scoring very well on the beam if King can finish it out.
There's a front aerial. Slight bobble into that beat jump. That'll be about a 10th deduction. Switch leap, straddle jump. And normally she does a side summy in this routine, but I believe they've watered down a little bit just to fight for that higher score, not take any risk at this point. Front aerial into immediate, back handspring step out. All she has left is her dismount. Taking a little breather there. Round off, double twist. Stuck that landing. Showing her flexibility there, that front aerial right into a back handspring step out. Nice connection. A nice high lift off the dismount there.
And Brianne King with a 9.825, so Florida comes through with 4 clutch beam routines, trying to close the gap on the Georgia Gym Dogs. The final rotation is next on Sun Sports. Part of the crowd of over 8,000 here at the O'Connell Center for Florida and Georgia. Georgia #1, the defending national champ. The Gators ranked #5. Florida now on floor exercise. The Gators trail by 0.25 heading into the final rotation, so they are within reach if they can nail their floor routines. Katie Rue's up first.
And this is the highest ranking event nationally for Florida. They're ranked 6th. This is also the biggest event for upgrading of their difficulty. They've all worked really hard to get some new skills. Nice high, full twisting, double back. One thing Coach Randy was saying was that she's wanted to do this hip-hop type routine since she's been here, and I think you could tell she's really enjoying it, as well as the crowd.
She's in her 3rd year, junior out of Maryland.
She'll round off whip half, front full. This Gator crowd is always so much fun to play up to. They really get into this event. Florida just known to be great in the floor exercise. They always have very unique choreography, a lot of fun to watch.
And does that help you to have that reputation? The judges know what your reputation is.
Exactly, it sure does. Makes it hard sometimes, though, when you're traveling on the road to not have that energy behind you from the crowd. You see your teammates getting into the routine as well. Gearing up for this last pass now. She's increased her difficulty so much. That's what she started with last year. And she's finishing with it. She stays in bounds. And there's that Gator chomp. It's in every routine. Take a look at that whip half, front full. Nice combination. There's that first pass, full twisting double back. Great height.
It amazes me how close they can get to that mark without going over. And Katie Rue with a 9.80 for Florida.
Well, they might keep the scores a little low, being the first gymnast for Florida. They know it's going to get better as the roster goes on.
And Georgia's been putting Kelsey Erickson up high in the lineup, trying to establish a high number, and Erickson has come through on each rotation.
You see her starting with extremely difficult mount, a punch front. Some of the gymnasts like to just get on easy and then do the big skills once they get on. You don't really want to start your routine with a fall. And she took that risk at the beginning. There's a handspring layout, step out. Very solid. She's a second-team All-American. And she's been the leadoff beam worker for Georgia. Georgia playing around a little bit with their lineups, trying to see who can hit. They had trouble with that last year. And by the changes, it just didn't get any consistency for them. And I think Coach Jacqueline feels that this will pay off if they can get these orders established early in the season. Switch leap, straddle jump, straddle jump.
Well, it was just amazing last year that Georgia was the 12th and final qualifier for NCAAs and then won it.
And that shows you how tough they are, barely getting into nationals, going in, and they were the underdog all year last year. There's a gainer, full twist.
And a 9.875 for Kelsey Erickson, who's battling her teammate Katie Heenan for all-around honors tonight. And over to the floor, here's Savannah Evans on the floor exercise, where she was an All-American as a freshman.
This is a new routine for her. Again, going country. Last year, she had Cotton Eye Joe. There's a step out of bounds there. There's that added difficulty with that double front. She's been wanting to do that since she was a freshman. As we said, Coach Fain is putting out the big skills early, taking some risk here and there, and that way they'll be ready at nationals.
Now, a step out of a tumbling pass, how does that compare with a step on a landing from the vault or the bars?
It's the same. You've got 1/10 for that step, like if you take an extra step, but if you go out of bounds, that would be also a 10. Depends on how big that would be. She was the 2005 SEC Gymnast of the Week. Performing to Man, I Feel Like a Woman. And getting ready for that last tumbling pass. Round up a handspring, nice high tuck double back. That's a great routine for Savannah. Nice height.
And Savannah Evans with a 9.675. We still have a few routines to show you, so don't leave us. We'll be right back to the O-Dome. Florida coach Rhonda Fain trying to get her 5th-ranked Gators to upset the #1 Georgia Gym Dogs, but Georgia coming through so far on the beam is going to be very difficult to catch. We go back to floor exercise, and again, Gator freshman Corey Hartung.
And Coach Rhonda Fain feels that this event can help them really compete for SECs and nationals this year with all their difficulty. She's starting out with a triple twist. It's an E-level tumbling pass.
Is that like an old E-ticket at Disney? The higher the letter, the better the...
Exactly. You have A, B, C, D, and E. And obviously, the higher you go, the more difficult the skill is. And she not only starts, but finishes with an E-level tumbling pass. Very unique choreography. One thing that's interesting about Corey is her and her mom moved away from the family for 5 years to train at Hills Gymnastics in Maryland. A lot of these kids have made a lot of sacrifices to get where they are today. Whip into a 2.5 twist. She not only considered Florida, but Georgia, Alabama, and LSU, all the top SEC gymnastics schools.
And gymnasts can't go wrong with those programs, certainly. If you look in the top 5 right now, you've got Florida, Alabama, and Georgia all in there.
In 2004, on this event, she was 3rd on the floor exercise in the USA versus Japan meet. And she finishes with a nice double twist. great routine for Corey.
Corey Hartung for the Gators.
Corey Hartung for the University of Florida.
She's so graceful on this event. Even in her tumbling, you see a whip, a 2.5 twist, followed that. A nice front double twist. Extremely hard to finish the routine with. She makes it look so easy.
And Corey Hartung with her third 9.9 of the night. She did not vault, so she's not in the all-around. The only Gator in all-around is Nicola Willis, and she fell off the beam, so she's not a challenger to win there, but she tries to end the evening on a high note with her floor exercise.
She is one of the first gymnasts at Florida to compete this first tumbling pass. Round up back handspring, nice high double layout. Look at the power. You wouldn't know she just had shoulder and ankle surgery and was out this last year. That double layout is really hard on the ankles. Punch front, round up back handspring, double twist. She has a lot of great amplitude in all of her tumbling skills, very unique choreography there.
And part of the reason coming back from that ankle last week, they held her out of the floor exercise against Alabama. So they're just trying to work her in gradually, build up the strength for the end of the year.
You may see all the gymnasts for Florida have the Gator chomp incorporated into their routine.
Nicola just broke the school record with 6 chomps in a single routine.
She can get away with that. She was an Olympian. Not only is she great, but her mother was a British swimming champ and dad was a former international speedway motorbike rider. Let's see what kind of finish we can do here. Nice pike double back. Looks like she might have stepped out of bounds there. That'll be 1/10 if it registered with the line judge.
Oh, very nice routine from Willis, but that judge in the corner did say she stepped out on the final pass.
And look at this power. Straight body, double layout, and nails it. She does this so flawlessly. A double full, looks like she could put one more twist on it.
And a 9.775 would have been at least a 10th higher without the step out, but a good score for Willis. Now back over to the beam. The final Georgia competitor on beam is Courtney Kupets.
We talked about her medaling in the Olympics on bars, but she placed 5th in the beam and 9th in the all-around at the 2004 Olympic Games. Back handspring, layout, step out, step out. Performs it like it's no trouble at all.
Her right ankle taped. She has a little Achilles strain, so they kept her out of the floor lineup. Georgia, as good as they've been on floor, will be even better when she's full strength.
And she's already been named the SEC Gymnast of the Week, January 17th. A great achievement. There's that required full turn. She joins a list of 6 other Georgia gymnasts that have competed in the Olympics. Switch leap to a gainer layout, step out. She's flawless. In her dismount, a gainer full twist, perfect landing.
9.925 Kupets to go with a 9.9 on vault and a 9.95 on the uneven bars. So 3 outstanding scores from the Olympian, no surprise. And also having a good night, Florida's Tiffany Murray.
She's performing her routine to Santa Esmeralda. High energy, he's got the crowd already in it with the clapping. She's really improved on her amplitude on her tumbling this year. Look at that high, full twisting, double back. She stayed in bounds. Stepping right into her second tumbling pass. Sometimes they like to get both of them out of the way for the endurance purpose of it. There's a punch front, round up a handspring, tuck double back, 1 step out of bounds. That's going to cost her a 10th. Right now, Florida just can't afford to give out these 10ths on the floor exercise.
That's the 4th one we've seen tonight. And that's, you add 4 tenths to the final score and you may have a different result.
Exactly. And Florida knows that. Last year they were afraid to keep the harder skills in early in the season, and they just didn't have the difficulty to go against Georgias and Alabamas at the end of the year. But this year they're going to be ready for SECs and Nationals with their difficulty.
And they have to feel good about season highs on the vault, bars, and beam. little surprising on the floor tonight, but they'll be better in the future.
She finishes with a nice high pike double back. Beautiful routine. There's that Gator chomp. The crowd loves it. As we said, all the gymnasts have greatly improved over the summer on their tumbling. She's just added a lot more height to her skills. Starts with that full in, which was an E level skill, and finishes with a solid pike double.
And Tiffany Murray gets a 9-8 despite the 1/10 deduction. Excellent routine for Murray. We'll be back and check out the final scores from the O'Connell Center in Gainesville. The second largest crowd ever to see gymnastics in the O'Connell Center sees the two highest scores in the nation this season. Unfortunately for Gator fans, Georgia with the top score at 197.025. Individually on the vault, a three-way tie for first, including Florida's Tiffany Murray. On the uneven bars, the Olympian Courtney Kupets gets the win. Erickson is second. Two Gators tie for third, Courtney Hartung and Samantha Lutz. On balance beam, Kupets again a winner, with Florida's Courtney Hartung second and Lutz tying for third. And on floor exercise, Corey Hartung gets the win, while Erickson and Heenan of Georgia are tied for second. In the all-around competition, Georgia's Kelsey Erickson is the winner, with Katie Heenan of the Bulldogs, the Gym Dogs, finishing second. That's going to do it from the O'Connell Center in Gainesville. For our producer, Vince Payne, director Jerry Wetzel, and our entire crew, along with Melissa Miller-Schubeck, I'm Larry Vittel. Good night from Gainesville.